The deputy slammed Daniel Cross's truck door and ordered him away, while the young woman in the passenger seat begged them to read the folder under her coat. Why were company executives so desperate to silence a stranded stranger? Why did an ordinary truck driver stay calm when handcuffs closed around his wrists? And why did the terminal manager go pale after seeing Daniel's worn silver ring? By sunrise, one roadside pickup would expose stolen wages, falsified records, and a betrayal Daniel had spent 10 years trying to outrun. But telling the truth could cost him the last person he still hoped to call family. Stay until the end, because the quietest man held the power no one saw coming. Rainwater ran from Daniel Cross's sleeve beneath the steel cuff around his wrist. "Step away from the truck," Deputy Roy Keller said. Daniel stayed still. The terminal yard glared under floodlights. Behind him, the diesel engine ticked as it cooled. "The woman stays in the cab," Carla Maddox called beneath a black umbrella. "She is a terminated employee holding stolen company records." Leah Bennett pressed a palm to the window and held a gray folder under her coat. "They're payroll files," she shouted. "Ask why they changed the logs." Carla's mouth tightened. "Deputy, remove her." Roy glanced at the workers beneath the awning. No one spoke. A young mechanic lowered his phone. Daniel noticed. "Keep recording." "You don't give instructions here," Carla said. "No, evidence does." Roy pulled Daniel's arm back. The cuff shifted, cold water sliding beneath it. "Don't make this worse," Roy murmured. Daniel looked at Leah. Her fingers could not work the folder clasp. "It's already worse." Carla pointed toward the security office. "Take him inside. We'll handle the truck." "You won't touch the cab until you inventory what you seize." "You're a contract driver." "That changes the paperwork, not the law." Roy looked at Carla instead of Daniel. A guard opened the passenger door. Leah recoiled toward the sleeper berth, wet shoes squeaking on rubber. "Give me the folder." Leah looked toward the awning. "Someone take this, please." The mechanic lifted his phone again. "Ethan," Carla snapped. "Put that away." His thumb hovered over the screen. Drivers studied the concrete and their boots. Daniel heard the dispatch door slam. A red clock inside read 2:17 a.m. "What time did you call the deputy?" he asked. Carla laughed once. "You think this is a hearing?" "The gate log will show it." Roy checked his watch. "It's 1:43. A reversing alarm stopped. Rain hammered the roofs. Daniel nodded toward the office. "Then your system is 34 minutes ahead." "So?" Roy asked. "The report says Leah entered at 2:05. Daniel met his eyes. "That time hasn't happened yet." Leah stopped fighting the clasp. "A display error," Carla said. "Maybe. Ethan, record the clock." Ethan raised the phone. Carla crossed the yard. "You are suspended. I'm a mechanic." "You're whatever I say you are until morning." His face drained, but the camera stayed up. Roy loosened his grip. "Ms. Maddox, nobody deletes anything tonight." "I never said delete." Daniel looked at the camera dome above the dispatch door. Its green light blinked once, then went dark. Inside, a man bent over a keyboard. "Deputy," Daniel said, "order them to preserve the server logs." Carla turned too late. The light came back on. The office door opened. Nolan Reed, head of corporate security, stepped out holding a portable drive. Leah tore the clasp loose. Papers slid across her lap. "Daniel," she called, using his name for the first time. They copied the wrong file. Nolan stopped beneath the awning. "What file?" Daniel asked. Leah held up a page marked with a handwritten number. "The account tied to the missing wages." Carla's face changed. Not fear yet, but recognition. Nolan slipped the drive into his coat and headed into the dark yard. At 4:58 p.m., 9 hours before the cuffs, Daniel guided his faded blue tractor through cold rain on Route 36. The wipers clicked. Weak heat smelled of coffee and damp canvas. On the dashboard, his phone showed one unsent message to Emma. "I'll be near Mill Creek tomorrow. If you have 10 minutes, I'd like to see you." He locked the screen and set it face down. "Cross, you're 3 minutes behind," Owen Price said over the radio. "I'm moving." "No stops. Vale wants the load at the terminal before midnight." Daniel watched rain blur the lane markers. "Weather's taking what it takes." Owen sighed. "Just don't make me explain you again." A mile later, headlights caught a silver sedan angled into the ditch. Its hazard lights blinked against bare trees. A young woman stood beside it in a soaked coat, one arm wrapped around a gray folder beneath the fabric. Daniel slowed onto the shoulder. Owen's voice returned. "Why are you stopping?" "Disabled vehicle." "Keep rolling. Patrol can handle it." Daniel set the brake. Air hissed beneath the cab. "Daniel." "Log the delay." Rain struck his face when he climbed down. The woman stepped back. "I called for help," she said. "They coming?" 40 minutes. You'll freeze before then." "I'm fine." Her teeth clicked on the last word. Daniel looked through the driver's window. The key was in the ignition, but the dashboard was dark. "Battery? Maybe." "Anyone else coming?" Her grip tightened around the folder. "No." He didn't challenge it. "My cab's warm." She studied his gray beard, worn jacket, and stitched name patch, then looked at the truck as if choosing between two kinds of danger. "I only need the next gas station." 12 miles. She opened the rear door, pulled out a canvas bag, and hesitated over an employee badge hanging from its strap. Daniel saw one word before she turned it inward. Crossline. "You work for them?" "Not anymore." A gust lifted her coat. The folder's metal clasp flashed. Daniel held the passenger door open. "Name?" "Leah." "Daniel." Inside, she sat rigidly, water dripping onto the rubber mat. Daniel handed her a towel and turned the heater vent toward her knees. She rubbed her hands but couldn't work the coat buttons. "You can leave me at the station." That was the arrangement. His phone lit again. Emma's name appeared in the old message thread. Daniel pressed the microphone icon. "Emma, it's Dad. I know Thanksgiving isn't—" He stopped, deleted the recording, and put the phone away. Leah watched the windshield. "Your daughter?" "Yes." "You two close?" "Not lately." The cab filled with tire noise and the bitter scent of reheated coffee. After 2 miles, Leah's shoulders lowered slightly. Then the radio cracked. "Cross," Owen said. "Change of route. Bring the truck to Mill Creek." Daniel looked at Leah. Her wet fingers closed around the folder. "No," she said. Owen continued. "Mandatory inspection. Gate 3. Leah turned so quickly the towel slid to the floor. "Please don't take me there." Daniel picked it up and folded it once. "Why?" She pulled the hidden badge free. Her photograph had been scored through with black marker. "Because the people waiting at that gate are the reason my car stopped." The diner's bell gave a tired jingle when Daniel pushed the door open. Warm air smelled of burnt coffee and wet wool. Leah scanned the booths and kitchen window. "Corner table," Daniel said. "I can't stay long." "You can stay until your hands stop shaking." She looked down. They were. A silver-haired waitress brought 2 cups. Her name tag read, "May." "Black?" she asked Daniel. "Yes. Leave room in the other." Leah frowned. "You don't know how I take it." "You look like you need the option." May noticed Leah's soaked coat. Restroom dryer works if you kick the panel. I'm okay. No one says that in November unless they aren't. Leah wrapped both hands around the cup. The lid trembled against the rim. His phone buzzed. Owen, you are en route. Call now. Daniel muted it. You should answer, Leah said. He knows where I am. That's what worries me. Her phone lit against the table. Carla Maddox. Leah let it ring out. You know her? Daniel asked. She hired me. And fired you? She signed the paper. A voicemail appeared. Leah, this is getting out of hand, Carla's voice said, gentle enough to sound rehearsed. Come back to Mill Creek. We'll return your belongings, and no one needs to involve the authorities. Bring the folder. It contains files you copied by mistake. Leah stopped the message. Daniel lifted his cup. Did you? Copy them by mistake. Yes. No. Leah noticed Daniel's worn silver ring, its crossroad emblem nearly smooth. That's Crossline's old seal. Daniel covered it with his thumb. Used to be. Drivers don't get those. Some did. When? Before plastic pins. Leah leaned back. Who are you? A man with a load due before midnight. That isn't an answer. It's the one I'm using. Outside, headlights swept across the blinds and stopped. Leah's coffee shook harder. Gray utility vehicle? Daniel asked. She looked past him. Yes. Company security? I don't know. You do. They called my mother, told her I was unstable. Did they threaten her? They asked whether she wanted to keep receiving company health assistance. What's in the folder? Proof they've been taking money from drivers. How? Not here. The bell jingled. Two men entered in dark rain jackets and chose stools near the register. They watched the mirror, not the menu. May poured for them. Passing through? Looking for someone, the taller man said. Daniel turned Leah's crossline badge toward the seat. Don't run, he said. I wasn't going to. You counted the exits. So did you. One man stood and headed toward the restrooms. Daniel placed cash beneath the sugar jar. May, back door? She kept wiping the counter. Kitchen, left of the freezer. Why help us? May glanced at Leah's untouched drink. Scared people drink fast. She hasn't taken one sip. Daniel rose. Leah followed with the folder under the towel. The freezer motor buzzed beside sacks of flour. At the rear door, her phone vibrated. The message held only a photograph of her stalled car, taken from the tree line. Cold air pressed through the doorframe. Behind them, the front bell rang, and Carla Maddox's voice carried over the dishes. She can't be far. The rear door opened on a wall of rain. Daniel stepped into the alley first. Leah followed, clutching the towel-wrapped folder to her ribs. Trucks across the lot, he said. They'll see us. They already did. A van blocked the diner windows as they crossed. The front bell rang behind them. Daniel Cross, Carla called. You're making this worse. He did not turn. The cab smelled of diesel and old coffee. Daniel locked both doors, started the engine, and pulled onto the service road before the gray utility vehicle cleared the diner lot. Leah opened the folder. Show me. You said you were just a driver. I am. That ring says otherwise. The papers, Leah. She showed him payroll summaries marked in yellow, meal deductions, equipment fees, compliance adjustments. They hide it in pieces, she said. $28 here, $41 there. Daniel traced one column with a calloused finger. Drivers authorized these? No. The signatures came from onboarding forms. He turned the page. And the log changes? They shave minutes from waiting time, then bill customers for the full delay. Drivers lose pay. The company keeps both sides. A truck threw water across the windshield. Who approved it? Brent Vale's office. Name, not office. Leah met his eyes. Brent Vale. How do you know the audit language? She asked. Daniel pressed a bent corner flat with his thumbnail. I know where people bury things. You knew where to look before I explained it. Carla called again. Leah declined it. Answer next time, Daniel said. Why? People say more when they think they're in control. The phone rang again. Leah put it on speaker. Where are you? Carla asked. Safe. With Cross? Daniel said nothing. Those files are incomplete, Carla continued. Share them, and you'll implicate innocent people. Like drivers charged for repairs they never requested. An accounting error. For 4 years? Bring the folder to Mill Creek, Carla said. I can still protect your severance. You canceled my insurance this morning. You violated policy. My mother's treatment is on that plan. Daniel's hand tightened once on the wheel. Carla's voice softened. Then don't make a permanent mistake over temporary anger. The line went dead. Rain hissed beneath the tires. Leah stared at the phone. That's how they do it. They make obedience sound like care. Daniel returned the page. Do you have copies? Some. Where? She pulled a memory card from her bag. One here. One uploaded. To whom? No one yet. Then it isn't uploaded. You don't trust me. I stopped for you. That isn't the same thing. No, it costs more. The radio crackled. Cross, respond, Owen said. Your route has been overridden. Proceed to Mill Creek. Daniel lifted the microphone. On whose authority? Corporate operations. Name. Brent Vale. Daniel set the microphone down. 2 headlights appeared in the mirror and held their distance. He checked the road ahead, then the worn silver ring on his hand. Now, Leah said, will you tell me who you are? Not until I know whether Brent remembers what he signed 10 years ago. What did he sign? Leah asked. Daniel kept his eyes on the road. The wipers dragged across the glass with a dry squeak before catching the rain again. A promise, he said. That's not an answer. It's enough for now. The highway narrowed between dark fields. The same headlights followed. Leah spread the payroll sheets across her knees and held one beneath the dashboard light. There are names here. Hundreds. Daniel glanced down once, then his hand left the wheel. Pull that page closer. His fingertips stopped halfway down. Marcus Green, safety hold. $4,860. You know him. We drove together. When? Before Crossline had terminals. Leah turned the page. He was charged for idle time, late deliveries, damaged equipment. Marcus never missed a window. He filed 3 appeals. Denied by Brent's office? She nodded. Daniel pressed his thumbnail into Marcus's name. The damp paper whitened beneath it. He lost his house last year, Leah said. Foreclosure in March. I called him. He never answered. Maybe he didn't know what to say. He always knew what to say. The radio clicked alive. Daniel? Owen said quietly. Brent wants confirmation you're headed to Mill Creek. Put him on. A smooth voice entered the cab. Dan? Long time. Leah looked at him sharply. Brent, I hear you've picked up a former employee carrying proprietary material. I picked up a stranded woman. You always did prefer the noble version. Did you authorize safety holds on driver wages? You're reading documents you don't understand anymore. Marcus Green, $4,860. That file is under review, Brent said, for 14 months. Don't turn one difficult case into a crusade. Brent added, you know as well as I do, numbers don't have feelings. Daniel's shoulders shifted. Leah saw it. You said that before. When? June 12th, 2015. After the rollover audit, 3 drivers falsified nothing. Your software did. Owen breathed on the open channel. Brent's voice hardened. You walked away from that company. I stepped aside. You vanished. I trusted you. That was your decision. Leah stared at Daniel's worn ring. Bring her in, Brent said, and I'll keep this from becoming personal. Daniel looked at Marcus's name again. It already is. He switched off the radio. Rain struck the roof. Leah folded the sheet carefully. Were you an investigator? Daniel did not answer. A lawyer? No? Then what? He reached into the storage pocket and removed an old photograph. 2 younger men stood beside the first cross-line truck beneath a hand-painted sign. One was Daniel. The other was Marcus. On the back, faded ink read, First Route. No one gets left behind. You built it. I helped. And Brent? Came later. Daniel returned the photograph to the pocket. Marcus kept a spare key to every truck we shared, even after there was nothing left to unlock. Leah looked down at the list. Do you know where he is? No? Her phone vibrated with a message from an unknown number. It contained an address in Mill Creek and 6 words. Marcus Green wants to speak with you. The 2 headlights stayed in Daniel's mirror through 3 turns. Leah held the phone between them. The message came from a blocked number. Read the address. 214 Mason Street, Mill Creek. Daniel knew the block. Marcus had no reason to be there after midnight. Could be bait, Leah said. It is. You're still going? No. She looked toward him. Then where? Daniel reached for the radio. Owen, I need the source of the route override. Static answered first. Corporate dispatch portal, Owen said. Direct command. Logged? Yes. Preserve it. I can lose my job. You can lose more by deleting it. The following vehicle moved closer, its beams filling the cab. Security says you have stolen records on board, Owen whispered. Do you believe them? A pause. The heater fan rattled. No. Daniel took the next exit. That leads to Mill Creek, Leah said. Not the terminal. Rain drummed on the roof as the utility vehicle followed the curve. They know exactly where we are. Fleet tracker. Can you disable it? Yes. Will you? No. Let them think we're cooperating. At 10:26 p.m., Daniel stopped beneath the canopy of an abandoned way station. The utility vehicle halted 200 yards back. They're waiting, Leah said. So are we. Daniel took a grease-stained logbook from behind his seat. Truck cameras upload through a separate unit. Corporate sees location, not footage. You record inside? Road and doors. He entered a handwritten service code on the dash. A green icon appeared. Everything since the diner is copying off-site. To whom? Someone who won't answer Brent's calls. Carla called. Leah accepted. You're being followed by people who think you're dangerous, Carla said. Your people? I don't control security. Then tell them to leave. I can't help you while you're with Cross. He lost authority years ago and never accepted it. Daniel raised one finger. Keep her talking. Leah asked, Why did my car lose power? That's absurd. The battery cable was cut. Daniel glanced at her. She had not told him that. Carla's breathing changed. Bring the folder to the terminal. We'll discuss your mother's coverage. Leah's fingers slipped on the phone. Daniel spoke. Carla, who ordered the vehicle behind us? The line went silent. Then the utility vehicle's headlights went dark. Carla disconnected. May Hollis called. 2 men were here asking for your passenger, she said. One left a fuel receipt. Company account. Names? Daniel asked. Nolan Reed and Trevor Bishop, Outside, both men stepped from the vehicle. Nolan Reed, broad-shouldered and gray at the temples, approached with a badge raised. Trevor Bishop stayed by the hood, phone raised. Daniel locked the doors. "Routine recovery," Nolan called. "Open the cab." Leah's breath fogged the side window. "Send May's message to yourself," Daniel said. "Why?" "They'll claim they were never here." Nolan knocked once on the glass. Then Owen's voice burst from the radio. "Daniel, don't go to Mason Street. The address belongs to a property leased by Crossline Security." Nolan's hand froze against the window. Daniel looked at Leah. "Now, we know who sent the message." The gate arm dropped before Daniel's truck cleared the turn. Mill Creek Terminal glared under flood lamps in the rain. Leah sat upright. "You said we weren't coming here." "We weren't." Daniel set the brake. Air hissed beneath the cab. Carla stepped from the guard booth beneath a black umbrella. Nolan's vehicle rolled in behind them and blocked the exit. "Engine off." Daniel left it running. "This unit and its cargo are company property. The trailer is under contract. The tractor is mine." Carla smiled. "Not for long." Drivers gathered beneath the maintenance awning. No one came closer. Daniel climbed down. Leah followed. Carla pointed at her. "Leah Bennett was terminated for removing confidential records. I copied evidence." "Evidence of your own misconduct?" Leah reached for her badge. Her wet fingers slipped. The card landed face up in a puddle. No one moved. One boot stepped around it, then another. A guard caught her elbow. "Take your hand off her," Daniel said. "Anyone assisting them," Carla announced, "will be removed from tonight's schedule." Leah lifted the badge herself. Water ran from its cracked corner. Daniel handed Carla a folded document. "Page 3 confirms ownership." She placed it face down on the hood. "You're trespassing." "I was ordered here by corporate dispatch." "That order was rescinded." "After I arrived?" She did not answer. Near Bay 4, a young mechanic held a phone low. Grease marked one cheek. "Name?" Daniel asked. "Ethan Cole." "Keep recording." Carla turned. "Put it away. It's a public yard. You work for me." His thumb hovered. "You have a sister in nursing school," Carla said. "Company scholarship?" Ethan's face drained. Leah said, "You don't owe me your future." That made him raise the phone. "You are suspended," Carla said. "I'm a mechanic." "You're whatever I say you are until morning." Daniel stepped between them. "Threatening a witness is a poor habit." Carla laughed. "You're a contract driver in a wet jacket." He glanced at the document soaking on the hood. "Then why are you afraid to read page 3? The dispatch door opened. Deputy Roy Keller walked out. "Mr. Cross, you need to leave." Nolan moved behind Daniel. Trevor blocked Leah from the cab. The gate remained down. "I'd be glad to. Raise it." Roy followed his gaze. "Open the gate." "No," Carla said. Ethan's phone chimed. Carla pointed at Daniel. "Remove him." Roy stepped closer. "Sir, hands where I can see them." Daniel raised them slowly. Leah held up the dripping badge. "He did exactly what your people ordered." Roy avoided her eyes. "Ma'am, stay back." A cold drop slid from Daniel's cuff into his palm. Then Ethan walked out from under the awning. "I saw them block the gate." Carla turned on him. "Go home." "No." Roy looked from the closed gate to Daniel's document dissolving in the rain. "Who called this in?" "I did," Carla said too quickly. Inside dispatch, a printer began spitting out pages. Nolan's phone rang. He checked the screen and went still. "Who is it?" Carla demanded. "Brent Vale." The printer stopped. Beneath the last sheet lay a timestamp proving the police had been called before Daniel reached the gate. Roy Keller lifted the last page from the printer tray. The timestamp read 1:31 a.m. Daniel had crossed the gate at 1:38. Carla reached for the sheet. Roy folded it and slipped it into his notebook. "Deputy, that printout is internal. It's evidence now." Brent Vale flashed across Nolan's vibrating phone. He declined the call. Roy faced Daniel. "Turn around." Leah stepped forward. "You proved they planned this." "I proved the call came early." Roy's jaw tightened. "I still have a complaint, a disputed vehicle, and company records in your possession." "They're in mine," Leah said. "Then you're coming inside too." The second cuff closed. Cold metal pressed against bone. Ethan kept filming. "Record the inventory," Daniel told him. Roy guided him toward security. "Stop directing the scene. Then direct it correctly." Inside, lights hummed over gray walls. A guard placed Daniel's phone, wallet, keys, and silver ring in a tray. "The ring stays," Daniel said. "Everything removable." Roy said, "Leave it." Carla stood in the doorway. "That ring could identify him as company." "It already does," Leah said. Roy separated them. Leah was taken into the adjoining office with the folder. Daniel sat on a bolted chair beneath a pale circle where a clock had once hung. "What time is it?" he asked. 1:49. "Write it down." Roy wrote it down. Carla's voice came through the wall. "Where is the backup?" "I don't know what you mean," Leah said. A drawer slammed. Daniel's phone buzzed in the tray. Emma filled the screen. He stood. "Sit down," the guard said. "That call matters." "They all do." The name vanished. Voicemail appeared. "One call after booking," Roy said. "You haven't booked me." "Then wait." Daniel lowered himself onto the chair. The cuffs clicked against its edge. From his shirt pocket, he drew a worn photograph. Sarah stood beside a younger Emma in front of the first Crossline truck. Emma was missing one front tooth. On the back, Sarah had written, "Don't build anything you can't come home from." Roy read it upside down. "My wife died before I understood it," Daniel said. The guard turned away. In the next room, Leah's voice sharpened. "You canceled my mother's coverage to make me come back." "I offered you a solution," Carla replied. "No, you priced my silence." A chair scraped. Daniel folded the photograph along its old crease. His fingers failed once to slide it back into his pocket. Nolan entered with Leah's folder and a property form containing blanks. "Sign here," he told Roy. "No item count?" "We'll complete it later." "No." Carla stepped in. "Deputy, this is a corporate security matter. You called law enforcement. And now I'm asking you to cooperate." Roy set the form down. "Brent is on his way," Nolan said. Outside, 2 air horns sounded. Drivers gathered beyond the windows. Ethan pressed his phone to the glass and held up a shop towel with 3 words, "Video is live." Carla saw it. "Shut down the terminal network." The lights flickered. The ceiling camera's green indicator died. Roy reached for the folder. Nolan pulled it back. In the sudden quiet, Daniel's phone buzzed with a message preview from Emma. "I found the trust documents. Don't sign anything." Ethan waited until the ceiling camera went dark, then slipped from the security office window and crossed the wet yard toward Daniel's truck. "Save the original file. Don't let them touch the cab." He opened the passenger door with a mechanic's pick. The cab smelled of canvas and cold coffee. A memory card protruded beneath the seat cover. Ethan pulled it free. Outside, Trevor Bishop rounded the trailer. Ethan dropped into the footwell as Trevor tested the door. Cole? Rain tapped. Trevor moved on. Ethan inserted the card into his phone. Payroll ledgers, altered logs, recordings, and a file marked Mason Property filled the screen. He sent everything to the one person he trusted outside the company. On to Nora. Open this now. Don't call me. Upload. 12%. Inside, Roy placed Emma's message before Daniel. Who controls the trust? My daughter. What does it control? Daniel looked toward Leah's room. More than Carla understands. Nolan reached for the phone. That's evidence. Then stop reading private messages, Roy said. Carla entered with a new form. The network is down. We need signatures now. Daniel studied the blank lines. You still haven't listed the folder. It belongs to the company. It's disputed evidence. Roy pulled the form away. Nobody signs. 2 air horns sounded. Drivers had blocked the service lane with tractors. Leah called. What's happening? Roy opened her door. Did you hide a copy? Leah glanced at Daniel. I protected my work. In the truck, Ethan's upload froze at 99%. Trevor's shadow crossed the glass. Ethan gripped the phone. Then the screen changed. Nora Cole. Received. He removed the card and pushed it beneath his boot as Trevor opened the door. What are you doing? Checking a battery fault. At 2 in the morning? You shut down the network. Trevor held out his hand. Phone. 3 drivers watched. None moved. Ethan surrendered it. Trevor searched the screen. You recorded company property. I recorded a closed gate. You're finished here. Maybe. At 2:07 a.m., 40 miles away, Nora Cole sat at her kitchen table in a red robe. She was 45, wore silver-framed glasses, and circled dates first. She opened the payroll sheet and called the diner. May answered on the 4th ring. Did a young woman come in with an older driver tonight? Yes. What time? 10:12. I have parking footage. Keep it. Already copied. Nora compared it with the dispatch log. Crossline claimed Daniel's truck had been stolen at 9:54 p.m. The diner camera showed him buying coffee 18 minutes later while the truck sat outside. She copied both files to an independent server and called the sheriff's office. Roy's radio crackled. Unit 12, preserve all body camera footage. Take no further action pending review. Carla's face tightened. Who called your supervisor? A woman's voice answered from Ethan's phone in Trevor's pocket. This is Nora Cole. I have the original files, the diner footage, and your false timeline. Trevor fumbled to silence it. Roy looked at the closed gate, the blank inventory sheet, and Leah's folder in Nolan's hands. Then he removed his key. For the first time that night, one of Daniel's cuffs opened. Roy removed the second cuff at 2:11 a.m. Daniel rubbed his wrist. Ms. Bennett stays as a witness, Roy said. No one touches the folder. Carla folded her arms. You're taking orders from a blogger? From my supervisor. Nora spoke through Ethan's phone. Read Daniel Cross's full name from his license. Roy did. Keys clicked on Nora's end. Found him. Leah leaned forward. Found what? An archived Federal Transportation report from 2015. Cross was the lead inspector. Carla laughed once. That proves nothing. It also lists him as a founding officer of Crossline Freight Holdings. Leah looked from Daniel's worn jacket to the silver ring in the property tray. You built the company. I helped build the first version. He left, Carla said. Brent bought him out. No, Nora replied. His shares transferred to a family trust. Daniel's phone lit with Emma's name. Roy handed it over. Dad? Her voice was breathless. I'm here. I found the trust documents in Mom's archive box. You still control 51% of the voting shares. Carla reached for the desk and missed its edge. That cannot be current. It was reaffirmed last year, Emma said. Brent tried to restructure and used an old proxy instead of your signature. Who notarized it? Company counsel. I'm sending the file. Nolan entered from the hall. Brent wants everyone out. Roy blocked the doorway. Brent can wait. He's the chief executive. Daniel slid his silver ring back over his knuckle. For tonight, he said. At 2:19, Nora emailed the ownership filing, the federal report, and Leah's payroll data to 3 independent addresses. Then she stopped on a scanned page. Daniel, your signature is on the 2015 audit. It should be. The finding says scheduling software altered driver logs. Leah looked up. The same method is in my files. Not the same method, Daniel said. The same code family. Emma inhaled. Why didn't you tell me? He looked at Sarah's photograph on the table. After your mother died, I let Brent run the company. Then I told myself staying away was the same as trusting people. That isn't what I asked. I know. Outside, drivers watched from beneath the awning. Nora said, I'm publishing a preservation notice, not the story. Once it's public, deleting anything becomes evidence. Carla moved toward the network cabinet. Roy stepped in front of her. Don't. I'm restoring service. Use another terminal. Ethan appeared at the window and raised his phone. Board chair requests emergency meeting. 6 a.m. Emma read the notice aloud. Brent copied the entire board. He says you're coercing employees and stealing confidential data. Daniel stood and buttoned his wet jacket. Then he finally remembers I exist. Leah studied him. What happens at 6? Daniel looked through the glass at the drivers who had stayed despite the threats. We make sure he hears the people he stopped counting. A second email arrived on Emma's phone. She opened it, and the color left her face. Dad, Brent attached a resignation letter with your signature. Daniel took the phone. The signature was perfect. The date was tomorrow. At 5:57 a.m., Brent Vale placed Daniel's forged resignation letter at the center of the boardroom table. Rain blurred the windows above Mill Creek Terminal. Daniel entered in his wet work jacket beside Emma and Leah. At the far end, Helen Ward, 63, tapped one finger against a sealed evidence bag. You are not recognized as an officer, Brent said. You resigned effective tomorrow. Daniel sat. That sentence should bother you. Why? Tomorrow hasn't happened. The metadata says this file was created at 2:42 this morning on a company device, Emma said. Carla shifted near the door. Metadata can be altered, Brent said. So can signatures, Emma replied. Leah placed the gray folder beside the evidence bag. And payroll. Helen raised a hand. Mr. Cross, do you claim voting control? I do. Proof. Emma slid notarized trust records across the table. 51%. No transfer. No revocation. Brent leaned back. Daniel abandoned operations for 10 years. I delegated them. You disappeared. My wife died. The air conditioning hummed. Emma's hand stopped over the trackpad. Brent looked away. Helen opened the 2015 federal report. Mr. Cross identified altered driver logs. Why was the corrective order never completed? The software was replaced, Brent said. Leah shook her head. The interface was replaced. The adjustment engine remained. Matching code commands appeared in yellow. They hid deductions inside safety holds, she said. Drivers lost waiting pay while customers were billed for the same hours. Unverified claims from a terminated employee. The doors opened. Samir Patel, 50, an independent auditor, entered with 2 technicians. "I verified them," he said. "Every server must be preserved now." Brent stood. "You have no authority." Daniel removed his jacket and folded it over the chair. "He does now." "You think that founder's ring makes you righteous?" "No." Daniel turned the worn silver band once. "It reminds me what I failed to protect." Through the glass, drivers crowded the corridor. Ethan stood among them. Helen asked, "What action do you request?" "Freeze deletions," Daniel said. "Suspend executive access. Put payroll restoration under independent control." "You want me removed?" "I want the evidence left alive." Helen called for a vote. 5 hands rose. Then a 6th. Brent looked toward Carla. She studied the carpet. Samir's technicians moved toward the server room. Brent reached for his phone. The screen flashed, "Access revoked." A brass nameplate sat before him. Chief Executive Officer. He lifted it and placed it in his briefcase. "No," Helen said. "Leave company property." Brent set it back down. Daniel slid the nameplate aside to make room for the auditor's files. Leah watched him as if the stranded roadside driver and the owner had finally become the same man. Samir's phone rang. He listened, then looked toward the hall. "One server is wiping itself," he said. "The command came from inside this building." The server room alarm began as a soft chirp. Samir Patel crossed the boardroom before anyone else moved. "Nobody touches a terminal." Brent stayed beside his chair. "You're overreacting." "Then hand me your phone." "You don't have that authority." Helen Ward shut the doors. "He does now." Drivers pressed against the glass. Ethan filmed. Carla stood near the wall, covering her wedding ring. A technician called from the server room. "Remote erase at 40%. "Isolate the rack," Samir said. "We'll lose the audit trail." "Mirror it first." The lights flickered. A fan wound down, leaving the smell of hot plastic. Leah opened her folder. "Payroll backup is on server 3. "How do you know?" Samir asked. "I built the compliance mirror." "And copied it illegally." "I copied reports you ordered destroyed." "Let her finish." Helen opened the door. Janet Rowe, 46, entered in a rain-dark coat. Luis Mendez, 61, followed, crushing his cap. "We were told witnesses could speak," Janet said. "They can," Daniel replied. Brent turned. "This is not a union hall." Daniel pulled out a chair. "Sit, Janet." She slid 3 pay statements across the table. Every month they took waiting time. Called it a compliance adjustment. "How much?" Samir asked. "Enough that I stopped filling prescriptions." Pens remained still. Luis placed a pawn receipt beside the statements. "My wife's ring. I sold it for rent. Then they told me to manage money better." Carla's fingers tightened over her own ring. "Hardship doesn't prove fraud." Leah pushed forward an email. "Your office approved the formula." Samir read the header. "From Brent Vale. Copy to Carla Maddox." "I didn't design it," Carla said. "You enforced it," Janet answered. The alarm stopped. Silence held. Then the technician appeared. "We froze the wipe at 63%. Command came from dispatch." Roy Keller entered, holding his body camera. "I also have audio." Carla went pale. Roy pressed play. Her voice filled the room. "Write the detention time as 1:45. By then the gate log will match." "You asked me to alter the report," Roy said. "You said you would cooperate." "I said I'd control the scene." "You wore the badge." "And I used it badly." He laid down a signed statement. Brent leaned toward Carla. "Say nothing else." She looked at Leah. My instructions came from Brent's office. Carla? She flinched but continued. He said drivers wouldn't fight small deductions. Fear was cheaper than litigation. Daniel's voice stayed level. Who canceled Leah's insurance? Carla swallowed. I did. Leah's chair scraped back. My mother missed treatment because of you. I know. No, you know the line item. Carla rubbed the skin beneath her ring. Helen turned to Samir. Can the losses be calculated? Yes, but the restored emails show more than wage theft. He rotated his laptop. Payments filled the screen, all routed through the Mason Street property. Daniel recognized one name, Marcus Green. Beside it was not a deduction, but confidential settlement. Luis leaned closer. Marcus never got a settlement. Samir opened the signature page. The signature was Marcus's. The bank account was not. At 6:42 a.m., Samir placed Marcus Green's settlement record beside a forged bank authorization. Account holder? Helen asked. Vale Advisory Services, Samir said. Owned by your brother-in-law, Emma replied. Dissolved last spring. Carla lowered herself into a chair. Daniel studied the signature. Marcus's name curved as it had on old fuel receipts, but the final stroke was too clean. He signs the G twice, Daniel said. Samir enlarged it. The second G was missing. Brent pushed back. This is theater. No, Daniel said. You spent years making sure these people stayed silent. Behind the glass, drivers filled the corridor. No one cheered. Helen read the findings. Unlawful deductions, altered duty logs, retaliatory termination, falsified detention records, destruction of evidence, diverted settlements. Brent looked at Carla. You approved local enforcement. You said the company would collapse if I didn't. You were terminal director. Own it. Her hand covered her ring. I am. Helen suspended Brent pending civil referral and removed Carla from management. Roy's conduct went to departmental review. His cooperation entered the record. Daniel did not watch Brent leave. At 8:15, he found Marcus in a diner 2 blocks away. The place smelled of onions and floor cleaner. Marcus, 57, sat by the window in a coat worn pale at the elbows. You took your time, Marcus said. I called. I saw. Daniel sat opposite him. Why didn't you answer? Marcus stirred cold coffee. Because you still had your name on a building. That building took your house. And I let it. No. I signed every appeal. I begged men half my age to release money I'd earned. Then I sold my truck, Sarah's china, the table my father built. His spoon stopped. I couldn't let you hear what my voice sounded like after that. Daniel placed the forged settlement page between them. Marcus read it once. That isn't my account. I know. You came to prove it? I came to say I should have come sooner. Marcus reached into his coat and set a small brass key on the table. Daniel recognized it. Spare for Unit 12, Marcus said. That truck's been gone 10 years. I know. Why keep it? Marcus looked through the rain-streaked glass. Some things are easier to carry than explain. Daniel closed his fingers around the worn key. Emma waited outside beneath the awning. When he joined her, she did not ask what Marcus had said. You fixed the company in 6 hours, she said. No. You walked into one room and everyone listened. They listened to documents. They listened because of who you are. Daniel slipped the key into his pocket. Emma folded her arms against the cold. Mom waited years for you to come home before dinner. I waited at graduations, court admissions, hospital corridors. You always had a reason. He looked at her. You notice broken systems faster than broken people, she said. That's your gift. It's also the damage. A bus hissed at the curb. Daniel's fingers found the key in his pocket, but there was nothing left for it to open. Inside the terminal, Helen called his name. The board wanted him to take Brent's chair. Emma stepped back. What will you choose this time? The boardroom had emptied by 9:30 a.m., but the drivers remained in the corridor. Helen placed Brent's brass nameplate before Daniel. The board is prepared to appoint you chief executive. Daniel turned it over. Dust filled the letters. No. Then what do you want? Daniel opened the door. Janet, Luis, Ethan, and others waited in wet coats. Seats. They entered, leaving footprints. Daniel pulled out the first chair for Janet. Samir displayed the losses. More than $8 million. Luis removed his cap. Does that include what people sold to survive? No one answered. Daniel pushed the nameplate aside. Repay wages, fees, and documented losses. No secrecy agreements. Helen frowned. That could become expensive. So was silence. Leah held the gray folder to her chest. And retaliation? You designed the protection system. I was fired yesterday. You were right yesterday. That doesn't qualify me. Your work does. Emma opened a legal pad. Independent reporting line. Auditor access. Public summaries. Leah lowered the folder without keeping one hand on it. Ethan raised two grease-dark fingers. Mechanics need a seat. We see reports before dispatch changes them. How many? Helen asked. Enough that management can't outvote everyone doing the work, Janet said. Daniel nodded. Drivers and mechanics hold the majority. The board will resist. Record who resists. By noon, they moved to the maintenance bay. The air smelled of rubber and rain drying on concrete. A heater clicked while Emma read each rule. No wage deduction without written consent and independent review. Plain language, Luis said. Not 10 pages, nobody understands. Emma rewrote it. No alteration of duty logs without dual authorization and notice. Keep the original entry visible, Ethan added. Leah typed it in. Daniel listened. Whenever someone called him Mr. Cross, he answered, Daniel, then returned the question. At 2:40 p.m., the first charter arrived. It looked fragile on the scarred workbench. Janet signed first. Luis followed. Ethan wiped his hand on a rag, but machine oil marked the page beside his name. Sorry. Daniel studied the black thumbprint. Leave it. The others signed around it. Emma placed the last page before Daniel. He signed, then slid the pen to Leah. What title? Chief Compliance Officer. Independent Chief Compliance Officer. Write the whole thing. Helen returned with an offer. Executive Chair. Temporary. Daniel folded the letter once. No. Emma watched him. What will you do? Drive the St. Louis route tomorrow. You think that proves you've changed? No. Good. She touched the grease-stained charter. Company rules are easier. Families don't come with procedures. I know. You keep saying that. Then I'll stop. Emma's phone buzzed. Restitution account approved. First payments go out Friday. Beyond the bay door, rain had stopped. Drivers carried copies toward their trucks. Daniel opened the old unsent message, then deleted it. Emma looked up. Why? Because next time, I'll say it where you can answer. She did not smile, but moved half a step closer. Beneath Ethan's oily thumbprint, the new rules waited for their first test. 6 months later, the first public audit report arrived at Mill Creek in plain white boxes. Leah Bennett cut the tape with a key. Inside were repayment totals, corrected logs, and every complaint received through the new independent line. Names were withheld only when drivers requested privacy. Page 42, Ethan said. He wore a clean work shirt, though grease still darkened one thumbnail. The page confirmed that mechanics now held 2 permanent seats on the oversight committee. Leah slid the report toward him. "You wanted it in writing." "I wanted them unable to erase it." Across the bay, Janet Rowe read her restitution statement twice. Luis Mendez stood beside her with a smaller envelope and a jeweler's receipt. "My wife's ring is still there," he said. Daniel glanced at the receipt. "Then go get it." "I already called." No one applauded. The heater clicked. A truck backed into Bay 3, and Janet pressed the statement flat against the workbench as if it might blow away. Brent Vale's civil case was still pending. He had been barred from company leadership and ordered to preserve his records. Carla Maddox accepted a lower-level scheduling job in another county after ethics training and sworn testimony. Before leaving, she asked Leah for 5 minutes. They met in the empty break room. "I canceled your mother's coverage," Carla said. "I told myself I was protecting the terminal." Leah held a paper cup in both hands. "You were protecting your position." "Yes." Carla set her access badge on the table. "I'm sorry." Leah did not touch it. "I believe you know what you did." It was not forgiveness, but Carla nodded as if it was more than she expected. Roy Keller returned 3 weeks later without a patrol jacket. His suspension had ended, but he was assigned to training duty. He stood before a room of deputies and played his own body camera audio. "This is where I stopped asking who controlled the gate," he said, and acted like the answer didn't matter. He let the silence remain. At noon, Daniel found Marcus beside an old blue tractor in the terminal lot. The company had bought it back from auction for the driver museum, but Marcus ignored the polished sign. "You made it too clean," he said. Daniel took the brass spare key from his pocket. "Still fits nothing." Marcus held out his palm. "Maybe it doesn't have to." Daniel placed the key there. Marcus closed his fingers, then opened them. "No," he said. "You keep it. You're the one still learning how to come back." That Friday, Daniel prepared for a short run to St. Louis. He checked the tires, signed the log, and climbed into the cab with 2 cups of coffee in the holder. Emma was already in the passenger seat. "You're trespassing," he said. "You taught me ownership is complicated." He handed her the sweeter cup. For several miles, they listened to the tires hum over dry pavement. Morning light moved across the dashboard. Daniel's phone rested between them, open to the old message thread. "I left messages because I was afraid you'd answer," he said. Emma turned toward the window. "And now?" "Now I'll listen." She nodded once. At the first rest area, Daniel deleted the last unsent recording. He did not replace it. Ahead, the highway opened beneath a pale gold sky, and the passenger seat was no longer empty. Have you ever seen someone treated unfairly because others assumed they had no power, no voice, or no one willing to stand beside them? Share your experience in the comments. Your story may help someone else recognize the moment when silence becomes part of the harm. Share this story with someone who believes dignity should never depend on job title, money, or status. Subscribe for more stories about justice, quiet resilience, second chances, and the people who change broken systems without losing their humanity. And remember the person who stayed calm when it would have been easier to walk away. Sometimes the first act of justice is simply refusing to leave someone alone at the gate.